Thank you so much. Well, first of all, thanks everyone for attending this talk, and it's really pity I'm not there, but some personal stuff I couldn't make the trip. But well, let's talk about this. First, I'm going to set up the clock just to have an idea about the time. Hmm. Okay, let's talk about the topic here is numerical study of a submerged flexible steam under large excursion regular wave. And well, it's presented by me, Paulino Meses Gonzalez, and my supervisor, Edgar Mendoza Baldwin from the Engineering Institute at UNAM in Mexico City. And well, first, what is the motivation of the job? Currently there is a trend looking for natural-based solution in every area. We are talking about cities, roads, bridge, also coastal defense, offshore structure, boats, and everything. Is well, the industry is moving for this, looking for eco-friendly solutions, and it is the idea of this job. Just try to understand how basically how we can improve the approximation to simulate the interaction between vegetation and wave in order to improve the coastal defense, breakwater, and something. And first, what is a large excursion? Basically, is when the vegetation or the length of the vegetation is smaller in comparison, with wave excursion or wavelength, and that is the typical case in the real life, no? Um, and then it's important to simulate and understand this area, this phenomenon, but also it's really difficult to simulate, especially when you are talking about the real vegetation. I mean, vegetation around 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters thickness. It's not. It's not. Um, it's not easy at all to simulate it, and also it's a really tricky the topic, and it is what we are doing here. Just try to set up a numerical approximation to simulate this phenomenon in real size. I mean, one by one. Uh, when I submitted the abstract, I had some preliminary results. But now, after some months, we already carry out some experimental campaigns in the wave flume at UNAM. And well, I tried to, I decided to show a little bit more, not the full campaign, just two cases. We ran 6 wave conditions, and I'm going to show just two. And basically, the experimental campaign was a 3D printer flexible steam that you can see in the right side. The steam was the dimension was 30 centimeter height, 2 centimeter width, and this is interesting. 1.5 millimeter thickness. I mean, it's really slim, and well, the idea is to do the numerical simulation in the real side. And we put this, or we divided the steam in 5 sections in order to track the steam response. The material for the 3D printer was a TPU 95A. The density is bigger than water density, and this is not the case for real vegetation, but is what we had in that moment. Um, and the young model was 63.3 megapascals, and the wave flume is a flume of 22 meters with a active wave absorption wave maker, and on the other side dissipation beach, where the porosity is around 30%, I think. Yeah. And we placed 3 wave gauges 8 meter far from the wave maker, and then two wave gauges, 30 centimeters before the steam and 30 centimeters after the steam. And also we put a vector to try to measure or capture the influence of the steam over the fluid velocity 10 centimeters before. And also we track the steam response with a high-speed camera. And well, we use many lights to get the contrast in the picture. And then we made the simulations, obviously in OpenFOAM, where we are in an OpenFOAM workshop. But in this case, I use the Foam Extended 4.1 version, and also the Solid for Foam library to solve the mechanical problem. And to solve the wave problem, we use the wave to foam. And you can see, for example, in the picture, the mesh, because we simulate one by one. That means the numerical steam has 1.5 millimeter of the thickness, and it's almost just one line in the picture. It was very complicated, time consuming, but yeah, but basically we did it, and I think I'm really, really proud of it. And also the properties for the numerical steam, I kept the density, but I had to tune the Young model just to stabilize the numerical simulation. Otherwise, with the less Young model, the numerical simulation would be really crazy about the time consuming. And then just to try to stabilize and make a doable simulation, no? Talking about the time. The wave flume was provided with that inlet condition to create the wave, and the other side an outlet condition to absorb and prevent the reflection. The atmosphere condition was opened, the bottom zero velocity condition, and in this case I just simulate the half of the, well, not the half of the wave flume. I mean, I place the steam in the middle, talking about the width, and then just one half in order to save the computational time, and I apply a symmetry boundary conditions. And yeah, the wave condition for this case I'm going to show is the case one. In wave high is 5 centimeters. Also, case two is 5 centimeters, but the period for the first one is 2 seconds, and for the second one is 4 seconds, with a wavelength of 3.25 meters and 6.77. And if you can see in the last part of the table, the ratio of the depth and wavelength for the case one is an intermediate water, and for the case two is shallow water, basically. And also you can see the eta in the plot, that is water level. For the case one, is the curves are match, the lines match, where the blue line is the data collected from during the experimental campaign, and the orange is the numerical simulation. For case one, those lines match, but for case two, we have more shallow water effect and some reflection that we couldn't reproduce very well. But at least the wave height is very well captured, and then we have some deformations. Also, in the case one, at the throw of the wave, we have this skewness, but this is part of the shallow water effect, or well, the friction with the bottom. And moving forward to the results, basically, I want to show the steam response and the velocity, because the water level didn't change so much. It doesn't make sense to show the plots because are the same practically. But the steam response, for example, you can see in the right side, uh, and um, and well, I didn't put the black dot, but the black dots are the measurements, and the red dot are the numerical result. If you remember the picture of this team has a initial deformation, is bent to the right, and obviously that deformation may well affect the steam response since the beginning. And you can see in the picture the steam oscillate between that deformation, with more deformation in the positive side and less deformation in the negative side. But for the numerical model, it's really hard to put this initial deformation. I'm working on it, but so far I haven't done. But the simulations more or less is the same range of response of moving or oscillation, but the simulation oscillates around the zero position. And in the left side, you can see the velocity. For example, for the first plot is the no steam. I mean, just the flume, the measurement in black, in red, and the numerical result in black, where the lines match instead of phase, instead of trend. But maybe the higher peak is reached, but the lower is not reached due to that skewness, that friction, and that shallow water effects. In the second one, you can see the measurement with the steam. In this case, it's with the steam, and the velocity is measured in the vectorino position. That means 7 centimeters, 10 centimeters before the steam. And the measurement is more or less the same value, but you can see the line in this case is a little bit noisy in comparison with the measurement without the steam. That means the steam also affect the shadow of the steam also affect the velocity in that position. And the same again, the velocity for the numerical simulation follow the same curve, but the maximum values, positive and negative, are not reached. And for the last plot, something is curious because before the steam, we see the same plot, but for the line after the steam, 7 centimeters after the steam, we can see the skewness of the curve is bigger in comparison with the curve before the steam. I mean, the lower point is moving forward in comparison with the plot before the steam. And for the case 2 is the same. The steam response is still oscillating around the initial deformation, but the oscillation rate is are very similar with the simulation. And the steam and the velocity of the steam without the velocity without the steam is also doesn't reach the maximum values, negative or positive, but the trend is the same with more noisy plot when the steam is placed in the flume, and also with but in this case the maximum values are reached, and then this curve match a little bit better. And for the last plot, we can see the formation of the curve before the steam. In the lower point, we have an extra curve. In this case, it's like a positive. I mean, the velocity is becoming negative and then move a little bit to the positive value, and then become again a little bit negative. And the velocity after the steam, in this case, the blue line, the form of the deformation is located in the peak of the curve. And then those are the effect of the steam, I mean the shadow of the steam that we can see in the last slide. For example, in the case one, when the steam reached the maximum negative deformation, we see a vortex in the right side, and also we see a vortex in the releasing from the steam in the upper part, and we can see in the left side the shadow that has a different sign. Instead of being negative, the shadow is positive, and when the steam reaches the maximum deformation, we can see also that vortex in the right side, and also another vortex is releasing in the shadow in the lower part of the steam. But when we are talking about the case two, when the period is 4 seconds, we can see the effects over the velocity is less than the case one. Then it's normal when the excursion is larger, the effects over the velocity are becoming less important than in the case of a small wave excursion. In conclusion, okay, the initial deformation of the steam imposes an initial condition that is hard so far to simulate, but I'm still working on it. The numerical velocity match with the collected data during the experimental campaign, talking about the trend, talking about the phase, the values. I mean, they are in the same order. Maybe the peak values, positive and negative, are not reached, but they are in the same order. And the numerical model has an acceptable accuracy in reproducing the steam response. And yeah, if we think about the thickness, it's a very good approximation in comparison with another jobs that so another job that work with steam about 1 centimeters or 1.5 centimeters. And well, thank you so much for your attention, and some questions. I'm open for that. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Oh,
Yep.
oh, okay. Okay, hello. So thank you for your talk. Do we have questions from the audience regarding the talk? Okay. It does not seem the case. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yep.
Do you have you ever did some convergence study in your research, in your study, your simulation?
Conversion? What do you mean?
Convergence study. Have you ever
No.
did some convergence study?
No. Honestly, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I have a question. I have a question, and it's connected to your tweaking of Young modulus of the stem. Like I guess that the Young modulus there will be directly linked to the frequency response and also to the magnitude response of the stem itself. So did you do some robustness study for how much you can change this parameter without strongly affecting the results?
Yes. Well, I tried to do it, but well, to be honest, it's very a little bit complicated to do it with this resolution. More or less to get this result on a numerical simulation lasts 2 weeks, and try to make more simulation is very very complicated. But of course, before to reach this point, I made many simulations, and this young model is the minimum. In this case, the minimum to stabilize the simulation without any changes in the time, the computational time. But definitely, it's the model is very sensitive to the young model, not to the density, because I changed the density many times, and the result didn't change so much. But to the young model, it's very sensitive. I mean, if instead of use 120 megapascal, I use 150, the result changed so much. Even, for example, the response is 5 millimeters or 6 millimeters less than the actual results. It's very sensitive. That's the problem. And also, it's very sensitive in the positive way. And also, if I decrease the young model, the model crash. Yes.
Okay. So thank you, and Will, thank you again, and